So we're at the conclusion of the urban gardening initiatives at the Paintbox venue, brought to you by Food Forward.
Yes.
So moving forward, your name is Briendan.
Yes, Briendan.
And you're one of the residents of the One Cole Garden.
Yeah, the One Cole Condo, and I helped to coordinate the rooftop community garden that we have there.
Okay.
We're now in our 4th year, and what was talked about tonight was that Daniels, the builder of the condos, has made this a major one of their initiatives in Regent Park and going forward. And in the specific case of One Cole, it was the first place that they had done a community garden space, and there were a number of challenges that arose out of that. Things like soil quality, having only 1 year of organizational support, and issues of that nature. It was a sort of a last-minute thing. Going forward, they're doing a lot more initiatives. Looking at our garden, we found that it's been quite successful. It's really helped us to form a stronger community amongst members of the condo who participate in the garden. There are about 30 to 40 of us involved in the garden space in a condo population or condo number of units of about 300. So it's really an interesting opportunity. We've had our challenges in terms of figuring out governance, figuring out sustainable funding. We were able to get support from the condo board, as well as require that people participating in having their own personal plots contribute to the funding of the garden. And all in all, it has been quite successful, and we've been slowly expanding the amount of space that we use for communal initiatives, while also expanding and appropriating some of the original communal space to expand the space available to people for individual plots, so that they have more space to work with and can grow their own food and interact in a more rich way with their own community.
Okay, let's talk about some of your successes.
Okay, sure. So some of the things that we're proudest about within the community garden are that we have a few perennials planted. We have had our first harvest of asparagus this year.
Asparagus,
our 4th season. We also planted last year raspberry bushes, and they're coming up really vibrantly this year.
how much did you plant that you can feed how many people?
Well, in reality, the amount of space that we have, we aren't looking at it as a huge nutritional supplement to our diet, but it's more of a social activity as well. When it comes to things like herbs, for instance, we have oodles of oregano and thyme, sage, rosemary growing, and one of the nice things we've been able to do is actually share some of that with the Christian Resource Center and their community kitchen that they run. So that's one way in which we've been giving back to the larger community. But otherwise, in terms of our general production, it's kind of hit and miss depending on the experience of the individual gardeners, because people will try experimenting, growing a whole range of different things. We found that certain things are very productive, like herbs, tomatoes, things that really love the sun. Other things are a little bit more hit and miss, like peppers and such.
Now, in this type of urban agriculture on a rooftop in a condo, will that attract potential buyers more so than if it was absent?
Well, yeah. I mean, for myself, when I've always lived prior to this in either in the country originally. I grew up on a farm, or in more low-rise type settings in the attics here in Toronto. And so looking at moving into a condo, because obviously I wanted to buy, but I definitely couldn't afford anything like a house in Toronto. So buying a condo, I didn't want to buy straight in the middle of downtown where it's all concrete and you're in some sort of a concrete valley. So getting to some place where I would have close access to parks, the idea of being able to grow my own food, both in the community garden and on the quite sizable balconies that we have in the building, that was all very appealing. And then finally, just it being a part of the Regent Park revitalization and being able to contribute to ideally the social cohesion and social change that ideally is being brought about within the neighbourhood, helping to break some of the
like you really enjoyed the experience in the residency.
Yeah.
So it's quite the seed that you guys have planted. And for more information, do you have a website or contact info if people want to learn more about this?
The garden is still fairly nascent in terms of that type of communication. We do have an email address if people want to contact us. That's simply One Cole, so that's COLE, gardening@gmail.com.
Thank you so much.